Hello, everybody. Welcome to StraightA. Dawson here.
Taylor here.
And it's just us two today. I know, the dynamic duo. I feel like
Yeah.
every now and then I sprinkle in like a random duo of just like me, Trace, and me, Ben, me, whoever. Now it's me and Taylor, you know? We're just rocking and rolling. And I'm sorry to bring this up. I meant to bring this up beforehand, but Taylor, you have the worst luck in our fantasy league this year because your team is
Yeah.
actually kind of solid and you're 3-9, and that's so unfortunate.
Injuries, dude.
I
My
know.
players keep getting injured.
It's just, I
And
was
then
looking at
Justin
that.
Fields had a bad game last week.
Well, you got, I don't know. Just every week I'm like, oh, Taylor's favored to win this game. Heck yeah. And all of a sudden, nope. I noticed that, but yeah. But I want to shout out Taylor because Taylor has a damn good team. And he's getting fucked over by the system. Uh, beside the point,
Getting
we're here.
screwed,
What do you say?
getting screwed over by the NFL.
That's how it goes, man. They screw up my picks.
Yeah.
What's called my betting odds every week. They don't give me the win. They
Ooh.
don't, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
But we are here with NFL Week 13 predictions. We have six teams on bye week this week, so a lot of teams are out, so only 13 games. But still some solid ones. There's a couple one-sided ones I think that are going to be kind of brutal to watch, but I think there's some fun ones here too. So we're going to roll right into it. And Taylor, you want to start us off today?
All right. Sure.
It'll be the Seattle Seahawks going to Dallas against the Cowboys.
Cowboys. It's in Dallas. Cowboys of Deron Bland, the
Mm-hmm.
rookie. He's been playing out of his mind. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And Seattle, I haven't heard much about them. They've seen, based on what it looks like, they've been pretty solid, but I think the Cowboys are most likely going to pull it out.
I couldn't agree with you more. The Seahawks are kind of like they started off really good. They had some like really good moments here. Like I think they started out 4-1 or something like that, 3-1, something like that.
Yeah.
They had a really good start to the season, and slowly I think Geno's starting to get wore down. Like every game, it feels like he's getting hurt and kind of like looking a little bit worse for wear. But they don't ever bring him out. I know there's talk about Drew Lock coming out at some point. I think Geno Smith's
It's
still
just
good to
hard.
go.
It's hard with that O line. It's a very young O line that they got.
Mm-hmm. And especially seeing how the Cowboys tore up the Commanders last week, it's hard not to say that Dallas Cowboys have one of the best defenses in the league, and Seattle's
Yeah.
defense, like, with how honestly Dallas's offense has never played to the caliber in recent memory they are now. Like
Yeah.
Dak's putting up MVP numbers.
It's crazy. Everyone gives him hate, but he's looked incredible this year.
Mm-hmm. No, I fully agree, and that's why I'm going to agree with the pick here on the Cowboys. No big triumphant underdog story. The spread is -9, so fun there. Uh, But more of an interesting game, and I say interesting because not because the matchup I think on paper is good, but I think it just has some more of chance to be an upset with the Los Angeles Chargers going to New England, and of course with this game, the reason why I say it could be an upset is because the Patriots I feel like always in past years. Now this year they have proven me wrong in that regard, just randomly winning games, kind of like similar to the Commanders have done this season,
Yeah.
and the Chargers have blown games out of proportion. They have done not very good keeping leads and even catching up to leads. They always either play from behind the whole game and never catch up, or they play ahead up until the fourth quarter and they lose. With that said, New England Patriots are in shambles, and I do think that Bill Belichick could pull something out of his ass. But if he's pulling Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones half a quarter, like halftime and halftime, it's not going to
Yeah.
work out for him. Pick
You can't.
somebody and go with it.
It's the NFL. You can't run a two QB system.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to work.
And I really do wish, I hope that the Patriots do get better because it almost feels like bad because I know they dominated for so long, so it's kind of refreshing seeing them get dominated. But man, it kind of feels like I don't know, it feels bad at this point. They're reaching a low in their life, but I think I'm still taking the Chargers pretty easily here.
I think I'm gonna go with the Chargers too. I mean, it's weird seeing the Patriots at the bottom of the AFC. I don't think I've I'm 21 years old. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life.
Mm.
I just think Bill Belichick he's living in the past pretty much of what his old teams did. He's not converting to what the new NFL is now. And I think it's just really starting to affect the players.
Mm.
And I think Mac Jones has gotten the worst of it, honestly.
Mm. No, I agree with you. I think they're on a downhill spiral, and I don't think it's going up from here. But next up, Taylor, you have the Arizona Cardinals going to Pittsburgh. Kind of an interesting game here.
Mm. See, this one's real hard because I know the Cardinals don't have a great record. Steelers have been very inconsistent this season. I mean, Kenny Pickett could play out of his mind, or he'll just suck pretty much. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He's either playing great or sucks.
Mhm.
It's it's based on the Steelers defense and what they can do. I think I'm gonna have to go with Steelers on this one, honestly.
Mhm. For Arizona Cardinals, I think with Kyler's been playing really well. I'll be honest with you. He's looking
Yeah,
good. He's not looking like Kyler prime, but he's getting back into it. And I think by next year, he's going to do what I hoped. I don't want to say hoped that I predicted Deshaun Watson to do was kind of build up back to
yeah,
himself, and that's what Kyler's kind of doing. He's playing smart. He's rushing. He's using his feet a lot, and he's not just playing dumb football. And unfortunately, I think Pittsburgh has turned a new leaf with the firing of Matt Canada. This last game for them has
yeah.
been the best game,
Definitely.
400 plus yards, and even if Kenny Pickett can't throw the ball, I think Kenny Pickett's not a turnover machine. So, kind of using that logic, even if Kenny Pickett can't score a touchdown, I think Najee Harris and Jalen Warren can. They have proven that they can be good interchangeably. Either Najee's really good or Jalen Warren's really good. And with the Arizona Cardinals D line not being the best at all, probably bottom. I don't want to say bottom five because they do all right in the beginning, but like top bottom 10, Pittsburgh can roll over them. And the Steelers defense, while I do think it's a little bit weaker now, I still think they're pretty solid. So give me the Steelers in this case.
Yeah,
Moving on, though, we were talking about this game a little bit beforehand. The Denver Broncos on a 5-game winning streak going to Houston, and man, I bet against the Broncos last week. So of course I don't know if you didn't reach that one because I'm conserving myself a little bit. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm betting on the
You're
Broncos
humbling
downfall
yourself just a little bit.
because
You're
I'm
just gonna humble yourself a little bit.
exactly I can't get on the hype train too much because I'm like we're 6-5. I feel gracious enough being at 6-5. It's almost like how you're at like you keep on getting like low numbers in blackjack and like you're
Yeah,
11,
you're
12.
feeling it. You're feeling it.
And I feel like I'm at that 15 mark. I feel like I'm at like 15, and I'm like, oh, do I hit and get like a 6 or below? But at this point, I'm like, it's still getting dicey because C.J. Stroud has been playing out of his mind.
He's honestly, if he wasn't a rookie, he'd be in the MVP race right now.
Honestly, because he's I think his top 5 receiving or passing yards, I
Yeah,
believe, and I think he has some
he,
18 plus touchdowns.
from what I saw today, he is one of the only. Surprisingly, there's three QBs in the AFC South that have a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and CJ Stroud leads that list.
Wow, that's that's just insane. So that's where I'm at right now because I'm like the Texans are so good and they're pretty. I mean they're not hot because they've been losing and winning. They've been kind of iffy and
Yeah,
back at it. And they just lost this last week to the Jaguars,
I
and
mean,
that's why I have to. I don't have many upsets though. Crap, I don't have many upsets. I don't believe. I just talked myself into doing the upset for the Denver Broncos because it's a -3.5 for the Houston Texans. Oh, Taylor, I think I'm going Denver Broncos. I think they're hot, and I think as long as they're hot now, I guess I have to stick with them. I'm not doing it happily, but just the only other thing I was going to note here is Texans lost last week to the Jaguars in very like bad fashion in terms of like that was a 56-yard
yeah,
field goal miss. It
58. And
yeah,
it went right off the top. It went right off like the top of the crossbar, I believe.
and the only other so the Texans are going to come back with force, and
Definitely.
but there's one thing that still holds me back from picking Texans week after week because my power rankings. I'm gonna be honest, this is not a spoiler for. I'm not going to spoil where they are ranked on my power rankings. They're still lower than I think people would want them to be, and it's all because of their defense. It's not their offense. I'm not questioning their offense. Their offense has proved themselves, but their defense either has the game of a lifetime or not. And the games they have a really good game on isn't usually when they have a good offensive game. So that's why I'm going to be picking Denver Broncos because I do want to. I always sprinkle a couple upsets in. I don't like just picking like favorites and all that. And I think this is one of the games I could see if upset in even from a non-Denver Broncos fan. So I will go Denver Broncos, but this is a close game either way. I think it's going to be a fun game. Honestly, it could be fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Texans. I mean, I it's hard. I mean, like you said, the Broncos are a very hot team right now. It's really hard to beat a very hot team because they've got all the confidence built up in them. I mean, they're just ready to go at it and fight.
Mm-hmm.
I just think CJ Stroud is. I I feel like the CJ Stroud led offense is just a bit better than the Russell Wilson led uh, Broncos offense.
Mhm.
It's just going to be whichever defense comes out to play is the way that I see it.
I think it's a good way of looking at it. Moving on to the Detroit Lions going to New Orleans. How do you feel, Taylor?
Ugh. Part of me wants to. I mean, I had it in my thing of Lions, but I mean, we saw how they played against the Packers. That was horrific. I don't know what happened there. It. I'm not even a Lions fan, and that was embarrassing to watch. A team who had, I mean, they've been amazing in the NFC. They've been playoff favorites so far.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like they're gonna. I feel like after that loss, their confidence built down a little bit, and I think the Saints are gonna win. Honestly,
Fair. You know, I know some people might consider. I'll be honest with you. I think the other 3 or 4 people who, depending on how many people actually answer for the predictions, are all going to pick the Lions. I know that for sure. But I
yeah,
kind of share your sentiment of like I'm worried about the Lions. I don't want to say I'm off the Lions yet, because I'm going to pick the Lions to win this because
yeah,
I think Dan Campbell is just that kind of guy to get back into shape and say, all right, we're going to win this. It was a short week last week for them, so it's like a 3-day turnover. But I do get worried because when I was watching that game, and this is the first time I think I watched through a whole Lions game this whole season, like just like watching that game because I don't think they've had a primetime
yeah,
game. Um, so and I kind of just watched how aggressive they were. Like they went for fourth down after fourth down after fourth down, even when they didn't necessarily need to, and they ended up costing them big. And so they needed kind of gear off that a little bit. They were hot, but now let's back it up a little bit. And I think that they enter
yeah.
New Orleans. I think Dan
They just
Campbell
need to
has
score. They
time.
just need to play soccer,
Mm-hmm.
is the way I see it. Like, there's no need to go for the very far fourth downs
Mm-hmm.
where it just seems like you're not gonna get it. Just either take your three or punt,
Mm-hmm.
depending on where the ball is at. So I think that's what really killed them.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree, but the NFC South is in shambles. I'll be honest, I don't like any of the teams anymore. I was high on the Bucks for a while, but I'm kind of not becoming a believer in them anymore. And the
Yeah,
Saints, they have a good offense at times, it feels like, but then they just mess it all up, and their defense plays sometimes. So, yeah, I'll take the Lions, but it's not an awful pick. That's kind of like the Broncos Texans to me in a little bit. Like the Saints, I think could actually pull
yeah.
this off. Now, moving on to a divisional game, another game we were kind of referring to before the recording, the Colts and Titans. Uh, you know, this
This is
is
gonna be hard.
this is a tough one because I think Gardner Minshew has served the Colts very well, and I think I've been underrating them a little bit. I think I've kind of just I don't want to say I underrated. I don't think I've acknowledged them is really the main thing. I think I just kind of look past their games as like, oh, they're playing a team. Okay, I'm probably gonna pick one of them randomly. Um, but they kind of are on a low key doing really well. Their defense is playing up to par. Offensive line, it's usually one of the stronger parts of the Colts. Gardner Minshew's being suitable. What's called Michael Pittman, still being a
Yeah.
great option. It's hard to bet against the Colts. Did the Colts and Titans play again or play before this game?
Yes. The Colts beat the Titans. I think it was a. I mean, any division game
Yeah.
for the Titans, it's going to be a close battle. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the way they've been for the past couple years, and I think that's how it was the last time.
Mm-hmm.
With the injuries the Titans have right now, not saying the Colts. I mean, they just lost Jonathan Taylor for it seems like
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks, most likely. I I don't know. I think the Titans' injuries are going to come back and bite them.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough one. I kind of go into these divisional games very like I don't take any divisional game lightly because I don't think unless you're like the
Yeah.
49ers or Eagles, I'm going to pick the 49ers, Eagles and Chiefs all the way every time because they are just the best teams in the league. But in games like this of both these teams around the same caliber at times, I'm going to go Titans here because it's so hard to beat a team twice. And I think after seeing the Titans had a rough couple games before, but they kind of got back in gear a little bit. I think Will Levis does have a little bit of shine that he can kind of go out there and utilize. He just he hasn't shown it yet, and I think he can.
He
I think he still can. And Derrick Henry, of course, is going to be a dominant force in any game. And it's I'm going to go Titans here. I think.
this one's gonna. I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch this game
Mm-hmm.
because it's my Titans. I really don't know. I mean, you got the Colts with Gardner Minshew, Zach Moss, who killed us the last game. You got Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. Again, Josh Downs killed us that game.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like the secondary wasn't able to do anything. And it seems like our secondary has not played well at all. You got Christian Fulton getting bullied by people
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over and over and over again. Uh, the only bright spot in our defense is probably Al Shair. He's always to the ball, no matter what. You got the front seven; they've looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see it, it's all going to come back to Will Levis and his O line, and the O line has struggled. Like I said earlier, one of the worst O lines in the league right now. I mean, and Will Levis has showed a lot of promise. He's able to, he's able to like get through the pocket, hold. I mean, he's able to just sit there and throw it and take a hit. There were a couple plays last week where he stayed in the pocket, was able to make the throw, and he got absolutely blasted.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hopped right back up, went to the line, back at it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I think I'm gonna have to go Colts on this one. I don't know really.
Mm-hmm.
You got Josh Downs and Michael Pittman for for the Titans secondary. I don't think the Titans. I don't think they can really work well with that at all.
Mm-hmm. Taylor, I'll be honest with you. You changed my mind. I listened to you. I was like, well, he's making a lot of damn good points about why the Colts are better. Even though it is in Nashville, I believe, right? Yeah, it's Nashville.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Colts. Cause yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, you know what, Taylor, you convinced me fully on there.
I think that's the first time that's ever happened.
Dude, you were just talking. I was like, dude, he hasn't made a bad point yet. So I was like, well, we'll just,
I think the last week, I think what everyone is like shifting over now was that the Titans beat the Panthers.
Yeah.
Well, the Panthers it's a shit show over there.
Mm-hmm.
It is a complete shit show. They fired their coach. It was, the play calling in that game for the Panthers was idiotic, honestly. You got that fake fullback handoff toss, and he gets startled by three guys.
Mm-hmm.
It was just bad, honestly.
No, it's fair. Either way, another game, another dollar. The Atlanta Falcons, New York Jets. -3 for the Falcons. I'll start saying that a little bit more. But what do you think, Taylor?
I'm going to go with the Falcons. Like I said with the Panthers, the Jets, it's just a shit show at this point. You bench Zach Wilson, who has not played well at all. Mm-hmm. And, not saying that Desmond Ridder has played well. He played well last week. He's coming off that high win game, or I really don't know if they won last week. Actually, I don't really remember. But
the Jets,
the Falcons last week,
they won, I believe. Yeah, against Saints. Against Saints.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I really don't know. I think the Falcons are just going to pull it off because the Jets have not shown much of anything this year. Besides, like ever since Aaron Rodgers went down, it's just gone downhill.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say Falcons. I will say I pre-stand on that. I'll be honest though. Tim Boyle is set to start. He started last game and he's starting this game. From all my knowledge of currently, I'm gonna tell you if Zach Wilson actually was designated the starter for this game, I think I would pick this Jets. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Zach Wilson's underrated or anything like that. I just think there's more to him than meets the eye for a lot of people, and I don't feel like they're giving him that opportunity. I feel like ever since Aaron Rodgers, know how much of a downer that is to be, like, you got Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, and everybody was clowning Zach Wilson from last season, as they should. He was a clown last season. But he's matured so much, and he's, like, it's just everything I've seen of teammates cheering him up and everything. He got a lot of flack for a little bit, and I think there's something there that he's just getting beat down, and I think he needs to go somewhere else eventually. But
definitely,
I don't necessarily think he was going to be a all around starter, but I think he could be like a Gardner Minshew type guy. I think he has some flashes of that. But beside the point, Falcons are just too good defensively. Bijan, as long as they use him, and as long as they get Jonnu or Kyle Pitts, I guess. Even though you only have an elite tight end, you just throw to Jonnu Smith. Either way, go figure.
I miss Jonnu Smith so bad.
Yeah.
He was so good on the Titans back in 2019.
Mm-hmm. I, I guess utilize them some more, and go for it. So
Yeah.
I'll go Falcons here. I'll keep this next one short and sweet. Miami to Commanders. So Miami Dolphins to the Washington Commanders -9.5. That's probably too low. I'm going Miami. Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill, Jalen Waddle, they both look great. Tua's doing good. Simple to the point.
Yeah. Dolphins. They've looked good. Commanders not so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really that hard to make this pick.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Carolina entering Tampa Bay. Taylor, I'm conflicted about this. What do you think?
I really don't know. I mean, after last week, the Panthers. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, Panthers O line, horrific, just awful. They fired their head coach. I believe they also I believe they fired someone else too.
I just saw the head coach, but there probably wasn't another firing.
Yes.
Let's see.
And then there's all the drama about. Uh, I also think this is going to mess up Bryce Young for this game. There was a lot of drama talking about how the head coach and the offensive coordinator. No, it was the head coach and the quarterback's coach. It was Josh McCown. Wanted C.J. Stroud. They didn't want Bryce Young at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they said that C.J. Stroud was their guy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's gonna beat into him that entire game. If he makes one mistake, he's gonna fall down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm just gonna go with the Bucks on this one. I think that's just how things are gonna go for him.
So their assistant head coach / running backs coach Deuce Staley and quarterbacks coach Josh McCown was also fired. So actually some big names there for the offense too.
Yeah.
So I am going to go with, man, there's not many upsets I really want to take this week. The Panthers, I think, are going to be a 2-15 team. I don't think they're a 1-16 team. Also because I don't think 1-16 looks good, and I don't want to see it. So, beside the point. But this is a divisional game, and the Bucks aren't very good either, to be honest with you. But Carolina, it's always my superstition in me. When somebody makes a move like that, like, for example, Steelers fired Matt Canada. They won. Like, it just small stuff like that. I'm like, they fired somebody. Maybe a small, like, everybody's gonna get hyped because one small thing happened, and all of a sudden Carolina's gonna win. I'm gonna go Bucks here, but I want to speak that into existence because I would love to see the Carolina Panthers beat the Bucks. Because I'm off the Bucks now, so just batter down the Bucks some more. But I still love Baker Mayfield, so I'm gonna hold out hope that maybe you can squeeze back into this division. So that's my take there. I love Baker. I dream about Baker Mayfield. To throw back to one of the videos we did long ago. But yeah, I agree with you. The Bucks are probably going to take this pretty easily. Next up, though, a not so easy game with a -2.5 spread in favor of the 49ers. 49ers going to Philadelphia against the Eagles. Oh, I think this is me, right? Yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
Man, what a freaking game this is going to be. This is my...
This is a good one.
Like, these are my, like, top 3, top 5-ish teams right here. And I genuinely think that this man, I don't know how this could go because Eagles have played so well, but they played almost to their opponent almost. So like,
yes,
what I mean
definitely.
by that is that they play a good opponent, they'll play up to that caliber. They play a bad opponent, they play down to that caliber. Good examples, Commanders. Now, granted, divisional, but beside the point. So it feels like they adjust as time goes on, and the defense have gotten worse. They started out very strong, but they're kind of rated about 19th in the defenses right now. 49ers are rated like one of the top ones. And it's really tough for me to talk myself into the Eagles as much as I want to because I think the Eagles are good, but they're also 10-1. It's hard to keep that kind of lead for that long. And they're not you remember the Carolina Panthers, they were 16-1 or 15-1. I forgot, 15-1, I believe.
Yeah, they were.
And they were a team that deserved to be 15-1 because they were dominant that year. In the NFC, they were the dominant team.
Cam Newton was the most dominant quarterback that year.
By far.
I mean, I remember watching him play against the Titans that year, and he ran all over them. Mm-hmm. It was a great game by Cam Newton. It's a terrible game by the Titans.
Mm-hmm. But this year, the Eagles aren't that team. They aren't a 15, 16-1 type team. Not to
Yeah.
say, not because they aren't, but because other teams are. Like Cowboys, 49ers easily could be in that conversation. You can even throw the Lions in there if you want to be a little cheeky. Like, uh, I'm going 49ers here. And that's a genuine, like, honestly, -2.5 feels high for this, I'll be honest. I feels like it should be like a -1.5 type deal. I don't know. That's my opinion, but yeah, 49ers I'm going with here. I believe in Brock Purdy.
I'm going to say 49ers too. I had made that pick before we ever turned on the cameras and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like you were talking about, I don't think the Eagles are not going to go 16-1. They've, I mean, the Chiefs game, they probably should have lost that game.
You mean the
Yeah,
Bills game last week or the?
yeah, the Bills game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they should have won that game,
I agree.
honestly. And it just seems like the NFL is very high on this team, and it just seems like everything seems to go their way right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just see the Niners coming in. They have a they have a great D line. They have a great defense. The offense has looked pretty good this year. I just think the Eagles are going to get outplayed this week.
Mm-hmm. It feels like such a 49ers thing to do to beat one of the top teams in the league in the actual
Definitely.
season and then also lose in the postseason to the same team.
Yeah.
Because this is a rematch. Because they were both in the championship last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a little rematch little thing here. So that actually
I
plays
think
into it.
this is going to be Brock Purdy's revenge game here.
Out of curiosity, so the over under is 46.5. Do you think that's high or low for this game? Like, would you take the over or under in this case for 46.5?
I would maybe take the under, honestly. I think it's going to be a very defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's probably going to be around 30 points total, maybe just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could just be completely wrong and it's going to be the highest scoring game of the year.
Well, it just feels like a 23-17 game to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like a couple touchdowns happen, but then field goals also become important. I don't know. It feels like a very weird-ish game. But yeah, I think I
Yeah.
agree with you. The under there. Beside the point, we still have 3 games to knock out. But Cleveland Browns going to Los Angeles against the Rams. I'll be fully honest with you. I'm going to take the Browns here because there's not many upsets I like, but I kind of like the Browns. The Rams now, Kyron Williams, I'm not gonna lie, kind of is making me second guess that, and Myles Garrett being hurt because I don't think he's back for this game. I don't think it's anything serious, but I think he's not. I don't think he's in for this game, but I could be wrong. I may look it up when you're talking, but yeah, I feel good about Cleveland. I know the QB situation. Obviously, I forgot they're putting PJ Walker in. I got an
Oh,
inkling that PJ Walker is going to have a subpar Kenny Pickett type game, like a 160, no touchdowns but no interceptions type deal, and they're going to go through the
yeah.
run game. And the Rams' run defense is kind of low key bad. And I know Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt also aren't good, but like I don't know. I just have an inkling the Browns are actually going to eke this in because I think they're going to make this an interesting conversation for the AFC because I don't see them dropping off too much more. The Rams have a really solid offense, but Cooper Kupp's not 100% right now. Puka hasn't been getting a whole lot of looks. Kyron Williams, as much as I love him, and love seeing that he's doing well, I think he's going to take a big step back this week. You know, more like a 80-yard type game. But it's just one of the upsets I like this week, and I like the momentum that Cleveland has kind of going, and the no, I guess I shouldn't say momentum because they did just lose last week to the Broncos. But I like the taking the Browns here, so I'm gonna take the Browns.
This is going to be a really good game. It's going to be a close game. You have two decent teams. I'm not going to say bad. I'm definitely not going to say good.
Mm-hmm.
It's two decent teams, and I kind of want to go Rams here, honestly. With Myles Garrett being out, I feel like they're going to push to that side of the D line a lot more
Mm-hmm.
to exploit that. And I don't know. I just don't think they're. I don't think they're going to look to the uh, to to the other side where Myles Garrett isn't. So
it seems like it's day to day with Garrett because he said it looks like there's nothing like. So he felt something pop, and then he was in a sling, but he said he feels good and nothing has stopped him yet. But I don't think practices have really started yet, so we don't have much information regarding his practice schedule because I think it's Wednesday through Friday are most of the practices. So we don't have any practice reports on that. But if Miles Garrett plays, it makes me feel a whole lot better about it. But it's going to be a good game, or at least in terms of it's going to be an interesting game of like a defense versus offensive thing. Because I'll be honest, if it comes down to if it comes down to the Rams defense, it's going to be the Browns game. I don't care who's at quarterback; it's going to be the Browns game.
Yeah.
But Rams, perfect. All right, and Kansas City Chiefs and Green Bay Packers. Taylor.
Chiefs. I know the Packers beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, throttled them.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions are not the Chiefs at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who's Rashee Rice on the Chiefs? That's one of the only receivers I've seen on the Chiefs that's actually looked good this year. And I think Patrick Mahomes is going to look at him or Travis Kelce, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. No, I think it's in Green Bay, and Green Bay has been, showing some signs of life, but it's against Kansas City. I'll be honest, Kansas City, I know Ben has gone on record saying that the Chiefs look better than they did last year. I don't believe that at this point.
I don't think they look better than they did last year.
And I think he means that I think he was putting more emphasis on the defense being a whole lot better and the offense not being as bad. Like it's just slightly worse, if that makes sense. He's saying the offense maybe is slightly worse, but like the defense is so much better that it almost evens out.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, I'll be honest. I think the Kansas City defense has been a little overrated. Just because I guess they don't do flashy plays. I guess they keep the score low at times. But either way, Kansas City is still the team to beat in the AFC. I mean, I know the Ravens have the number 1 seed right now locked, but I'm not going to say the Ravens are a fluky 1 seed, but they're holding on to it by a string, in my opinion. They're grasping at it a little bit. Kansas City still feels like they're the person to dethrone, and I think Kansas City's going to take this win easily.
Yeah.
And finally, we had the Cincinnati Bengals with Jake Browning going to Jacksonville, heading into a Sacksonville-type game because Josh Allen is going to sack Jake Browning a total of 3 times. Probably going to put that in as a wager because I'm expecting a slaughter for the offensive line here. Jacksonville's defense played phenomenal. Trevor Lawrence has looked phenomenal. Calvin Ridley seems to be running routes that aren't just streaks now. Christian Kirk is a great second option. Evan Ingram's still there if he needs a check down pass. Not to mention Travis Etienne, who's starting to get wore down a little bit, it looks like, but he's still solid in the run game. And the Bengals defense can't do anything. Like I said, I didn't take many upsets this week, but there's not many upsets I want, and especially not this game. This probably is a lock of the week type game for me. Jacksonville in Jacksonville too. So yeah, give Jaguars all the way.
I'm gonna go Jaguars too. Jake Browning. He is not that guy. He is not that guy for the Bengals to turn this season around at all. I mean, last week, they played the Steelers the Browns. No, who did they play last week? Steelers. Okay, I don't know why I thought that, but it's the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers aren't good. I mean, their defense is pretty good, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake Browning he's gonna throw at least 2 picks this week.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I would 2 picks is that's fair. I'd say 2 picks. I was thinking more like a fumble and a pick maybe, but like
yeah.
But that's me.
2 turnovers.
Yeah, there we go. 2 turnovers. And that's it. Honestly, going through this, there's actually a lot of one-sided games. There's a couple of divisional games that make it a little bit more interesting, but a lot of more one-sided games than I expected. Not really many upsets. I'm just trying to see if there's what other upsets there could be this game. But either way, I guess that's our picks for the week. NFL Week 13. I guess I didn't really give a chance for Ben's and all of them to be on the screen. So at this moment in time, Ben's picks are going to be on the screen as well as Trathan's, Braden's, anybody else who posts. It's going to be on the screen right now. If it's multiple picks, I have to put on multiple graphics, and there you go. I do also have the leaderboard. Technically, which will now be on screen. I won't talk too much about that one at the moment, but the leaderboard does have a pretty significant change I do want to make a note of. the what's called betting line is now in first place officially at 117-63. Kevin Walsh has fallen from grace after only a 6-win game or 6-win week for him, so he's down to 114-66. Meanwhile, me and Ryan are tied with Tom Grossi at 111-69. Wyatt's World's right below him with Trayson with 110-70. Ben is still rocking last place at 108-72, and TPS is 96-84. Braden and Taylor are somewhere around TPS's current percentage marks, so I'm not too sure exactly where the percentages line up, but I'll put a little marker of like, hey, Taylor goes here or Braden goes here if y'all want to see it. But they're around that 8-9 spot still, just because they have such few games to actually base anything off of. Anyway, that should be everything now at this point. Thank you guys for watching and enjoying me and Taylor here today, kind of bantering back and forth about some of these games. Stay tuned for other great videos this week, as well as Power Rankings. NFL Imperialism is going to come out. So, StraightA Dawson, out.